Hello, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us here live on Midday Live with me, Asiedu-Dartey, top of the bulletin this afternoon. 3 Ghanaian pilgrims die in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Flood victims in East Gunja district receive relief items 3 weeks after disaster. Also coming up, Ghana's bailout program with IMF extended by 1 more year. And on the foreign front, French government unveils ambitious plan to overhaul that country's labor laws. These and more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. To our very first story, 3 Ghanaian Muslim pilgrims who were part of this year's Hajj have died in Saudi Arabia. And the Hajj board confirmed they are made up of 2 females who were said to have died from natural causes and 1 male who died from a medical condition. One of the females died in her sleep, while the other 2 died at the medical facility. Their families in Ghana have since been informed, and they have given consent for them to be buried in Saudi Arabia. We'll bring you more on that in our subsequent bulletins, and let's move to the issue surrounding SSNIT boss and sacked SSNIT boss to drag SSNIT to court, and counsel for dismissed general manager for IT at SSNIT, Charles Owusu, says his client has authorized him to start processes to drag SSNIT to court. Reacting to a press release revealing Dr. Caleb Afaglu of his position as general manager MIS by the SSNIT board, lawyer Owusu insisted his client's degrees are genuine and could not be a basis for his dismissal. He said reports about the sacking of his client, Dr. Afaglu, came to him as a surprise, noting that 2 years ago, the board at the time vetted and verified the same degrees that are being questioned now. In a telephone interview with TV3's Eddie Kwabi, lawyer Charles Owusu was emphatic about an imminent lawsuit that would compel SSNIT to reinstate the client. We are shocked by his development because we thought Yoko was still investigating the matter. So why would the board do this? He quizzed. The SSNIT board, after a crunch meeting, dismissed Dr. Caleb Afaglu following allegations that his degrees were fake. Acting Executive Director of Labour Policy International, Seth Abloso, has called for an overhaul of SSNIT in its current form to separate the pension collection from investment. Speaking to on TV3's news at 10 on Wednesday, the labour expert wondered why SSNIT should have a customer department, arguing it's showing the administrators have lost focus and don't understand the nature of the business.
As it is now, the fund manager is the same as the collector. We've come to this situation particularly because after the promulgation of the Pensions Act 766, there was to have been very far-reaching pension reforms. In fact, what instituted them, we had a Pensions Reform Implementation Commission. But with the change of government in 2008, the committee ceased to function. If it had, some of the matters we are hearing of now wouldn't have occurred. SSNIT also will need a complete overhaul. Parts of the structure worrying. For instance, SSNIT
Which ones in particular? Yes.
SSNIT operates a customer service department, but it has no customers. So to find that there is a customer service department suggests that the administrators of the scheme have lost focus or do not appreciate the nature of the institution that they are managing. Then SNIT continues to operate what they call corporate social responsibility. They go about making donations. If they appreciate that SNIT is a trust, that they are holding funds in trust for the members, they won't be doing donations, offering gifts, giving hampers at the end of the year. If we appreciate that we own the institution, then we reform it and managers act appropriately. If members appreciate that, and managers appreciate that the monies that go into the fund are for those on whose behalf the monies are made, and the representatives of the on the board, and with the reform and the implementation of Act 766, labor and pensioners representation now came up to be the majority representation on the board of SNIT. And it's surprising that with a majority representation, SNIT will be doing things just like that.
Just like that.
Recently, also with the new board, they put out an advert inviting tenders for the supply of luxury diaries for 2018.
Right.
And you ask yourself, what is happening?
What is happening?
Luxury diaries.
Are you getting some? Am I getting
yes,
some?
but luxury for who?
For who?
So it doesn't have to spend even a penny on any luxury item. So again, the new board needs to sit back. And I would say that they should cancel that tender.
You think that they should learn from these events?
Yes,
and
not only that, but they should
state.
cancel that tender for luxury diaries. They can order diaries, but not luxury items. No luxury items anywhere. No travels by business class. All travels by SNIT officials should be by economy class.
Well, more of that in our subsequent bulletins. And away from that, let's move to the northern region, where flood victims in East Gonja district in the northern region finally received relief items after 3 weeks of the disaster. A total of 1,765 households were affected after an almost 2 hours of rain in August 6, 2017, with over 2,000 residents rendered homeless. Let's speak on phone now with Northern Regional Correspondent Zubeida Ismail. Good afternoon, Zubeida. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Well, so what kind of relief items are being given to the victims?
We have 400 bags of cement, 100 buckets. We have 80 mattresses. We have 130 bags of rice, and then 50 boxes of 1 liter cooking oil. And so these are the items that the National Disaster Organization has managed to bring to the victims of East Gonja flood that happened on the 5th of August this year.
Well, so we know that some of the people had their homes destroyed as a result of the floods. How are they coping now? What is the situation there like?
Yeah. After it happened, most of them had to move into mosque around, and some also took refuge with their friends and families. But then today when I returned there, I noticed that most of them, even those that were in the mosque, have also gone back to their families and friends. And so there are no people in the mosque, but of course, they needed to build their homes again. That's how come they were given some cement, bags of cement to enable them put up or patch the houses. But then for those that were completely down on the floor, we had 2 homes or 2 houses that were washed away completely. For those ones, they are not even there currently. They've moved to their family members, and I'm told one family has actually relocated from the area, but they are not even in the district as we speak.
Well, Zubeida, finally, let's look at, with regards to such issues, children, women, what is the situation with regards to children and women in that area?
I can say that they are not so okay. But then, I mean, these are people that, especially in this season, they are always in the farm, and so you can even hardly find them in the house and ask them what their situation is like. The few ones that we got to speak to, who of course came or showed up at the district assembly to pick the relief items, only told us that they are just managing because, of course, the items that they have received are not enough to cater for their loss. But then they are hoping that they will get more from the general public so that it can help them recoup slowly as the season unfolds.
Thanks so much, Zubeida, for the updates. Still stay around and we'll get more information from you in our subsequent bulletins. Let's still stay on this issue. And the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is testing boats for rescue and monitoring activities on the Volta Lake in the West Mamprusi district of the Northern region. This is in anticipation of the opening of the Bagre Dam, which is expected to flood communities downstream.
Spillage of Burkina Faso's Bagre Dam causes flooding in the northern region, upper west and upper east regions. This affects communities along the White and Black Volta. The National Disaster Management Organization says expected heavy rains and the spillage of the Bagre Dam will affect West Mamprusi, Mamprugu, Muaduru, Boko West, Central and Western Gonja, among others. 29 communities have been identified to be in the way of flood water in the West Mamprusi district alone. In attempts to protect lives and property, NADMO has constituted a 25-member team with headquarters in the West Mamprusi district to respond rapidly to flood victims ahead of the spillage of the Bagre Dam. The head of operations at NADMO, Winfred Namote, explained the team consists of rescuers, staff from the Livelihood Department, Hydro-Medical Department, IT specialists, among others. He indicated NADMO is in talks with Burkina Faso to give Ghana 5 days notice before spilling. The team is also undertaking sensitization program in the identified communities to ensure residents close to the river banks relocate before spillage commences.
In other news, the Ghana East Municipal Assembly says it will decommission the Abokobi landfill site due to the health hazards it poses to scavengers and residents. Scavengers risk contracting diseases because they wear no protective gears.
The Abokobi landfill site is Accra's largest waste disposal site, commissioned some 19 years ago. 1,000 tons of garbage generated and collected by waste management organizations in the capital end up here. More than 60 trucks and tricycles come to dump refuse daily. Although the places full and near the commissioning stage, constant emission of carbon dioxide as a result burning of heaped garbage has created discomfort for settlers nearby. This activity is said to be executed by scavengers. Numbering about 50, the Abokobi landfill site serves as a safe haven and lucrative business for scavengers. This woman, I call Mary for the purposes of this story, is a mother of 3 and a single parent. Mary can neither read nor write. She said she was compelled to take up this job to enable her cater for her children's education. Mary, like other women, compete with men daily over scavenging here. In fact, her family's livelihood depends on this.
I have been in this business since the last 2 years, and it's been good.
A job of this nature takes courageous persons to do. When business is good, each scavenger makes between 50 and 70 cedis daily. This, they say, sustains them. They, however, risk contracting diseases because most of them have no protective gears.
Officials from the Ghana East Municipal Assembly have been educating us on the use of safety wears, but some of us are just stubborn.
The The Ga East Municipal Assembly, however, claimed the meeting scheduled to register the scavengers onto the National Health Insurance Scheme did not materialize. Chief Environmental Health Technologist at Ga East Municipal Assembly, Derek Tata Anku, explains why.
They believe it was an attempt at driving them out of the dump. The initial meeting was provide them with a national health insurance. But unfortunately, whatever information got to them, they decided not to be part of it.
He also said the assembly is devising a decommissioning plan of the site.
So when we even finally decide to stop dumping there, we are not even going to leave what is in stock. We have plans of reusing whatever has been heaped over the years and possibly turn the site into a transfer station.
The landfill site, if not decommissioned, will increase residents' risk of contracting diseases.
To the education sector now, and teacher trainees in public colleges of education will from next month be entitled to 400 cedis monthly allowance each. 196 cedis will go directly to the colleges to pay for each trainee's utilities and feeding, while the trainees will receive 204 cedis each as pocket money. The allowances were scrapped in 2013 by the previous government.
The teacher trainee allowance was replaced with loans from the Student Loan Trust Fund by the previous administration, which saw it as an impediment to admitting more trainees because of the quota system. The restoration of the allowance was one of the critical issues in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, with the new Patriotic Party promising to restore it if it won the elections. The amount is, however, 248 cedis less than the 452 cedis the trainee teachers were receiving after deductions before it was scrapped. Government is expected to spend at least 18 million cedis monthly on about 45,000 students, with 9.18 million cedis of the amount going to the trainees in pocket money, while 8.82 million cedis goes to the colleges for feeding and the payment of utilities. Its abolition is reported to have increased enrollment in the colleges of education by 63.8%. Before then, the colleges of education were admitting only about 40% of their capacity in view of the financial considerations by government, which prevented many prospective applicants from gaining admission. The result was a teacher deficit in basic schools.
To the courts now, and the Abeka District Court has rejected an appeal for bail by the counsel of Charles Frimpong, who is charged with the murder of a mechanic, Yao Boedu, at Alaju in Accra. This followed an appeal by the prosecution that the police are yet to conclude their investigations.
The Abeka District Court again remanded accused person Charles Frimpong to prison custody after the prosecution pleaded with the court for more time to conclude with investigations. He told the court the pathologist is yet to furnish the police with the autopsy report, which led to the court adjourning hearing to October 2. Counsel for the accused person George Amaliba asked for bail for his client as the court waits conclusion of the investigations, but Justice Victoria Kwanzaa proceeded to remand Charles Frimpong to prison custody. The court premises was flooded with sympathizers of the deceased. His mother and friends rained curses on the accused person. The deceased Yaboidi died from a gunshot wound after 2 days at the hospital. According to eyewitnesses, there were heated exchanges before the gun was fired by the accused, Charles Frimpong.
The Ministry of Railways Development has received $10 million from the Ghana Manganese Company to aid in the rehabilitation of the Western Rail Line from Nsuta to Takoradi. The rail line, which is in a deplorable state, has affected the lifting of manganese from Nsuta to Takoradi, resulting in a decline in manganese export.
Available data show that the rail sector commanded over 70% market share of freight and passenger transport in the country during the colonial days until the 1970s. It also carried over 2 million tons of freight and 8 million passengers annually in the 1960s and 1970s. The 340-kilometer Western Rail Line, which facilitates the haulage of manganese, bauxite, cocoa and other bulk commodities, is in a deplorable state. This has affected the transportation of manganese from Nsuta to Takoradi, contributing to a decline in manganese export. The $10 million is a forward payment freight measure given to the Ghana Railway Company to repair the line. The rehabilitation process includes replacement of wooden sleepers to steel sleepers, among other repair works. It is expected to be done within a 7-month period. During this time, the rail line will not be totally closed. However, the tonnage of manganese which will be transported will be reduced. Briefing the media, the Railways Development Minister, Asiedu-Dartey, stressed this will ensure government transformation agenda for the rail sector is achieved.
We are in the process at the same time taking steps to rehabilitate the workshop of the Ghana Railway Company Limited. You cannot have an active rail operation without a good workshop. You cannot have cars on the road without workshops. We are also looking at technology transfer, we are looking at training, and we are working together to seek to expand the economy.
Former President John Kufuor wants serious attention to be given to issues of hunger and nutrition to forestall any future food security challenges. The former president was speaking at an advisory board meeting with members of the Ghana Zero Hunger Strategic Review Project at the Flagstaff House in Accra.
The meeting was to receive and examine the Ghana Zero Hunger Strategic Review Project report for possible adoption by government. The project is to support government and the people of Ghana to determine what needs to be done to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 2, which aims to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. The UNDP Residents Coordinator, Christine Evans-Clark, pledged the United Nations continued support for the project.
Achieving the objectives under Goal 2 for sustainable agriculture, for food security and nutrition, we have to adjust to the effects of climate change. We have to adopt new kinds of agricultural processing, which is under Goal 2. We know that we have to protect the marine resources, which is Goal 14. We have to invest in water and transportation and energy infrastructure under Goal 8. We have to do all of these things together because they're all critical for achieving our goals on food and nutrition.
The World Food Programme called for deliberate effort to end hunger. Former President Kufuor, who is a lead convener of the project, insisted more should be done to address issues of hunger and nutrition.
I wish to re-emphasize my personal commitment to the issue of hunger and nutrition, and to appeal to all of you to give full attention to the problem. All recent reports affirm the danger ahead if we do not address the problem of nutrition.
The report, among others, recommended that government commits considerable resources to food and nutrition security.
We'll take a quick break here, and when we come back, Nana Ekuya Mensah Brampa will join us with business. Stay with us.
You're still watching Midday Live. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for staying with us. And it's time for business. My name is Ekuya Mensah Brampa. Now, the fourth review of Ghana's bailout program with the IMF has concluded with an extension by 1 more year, that is April 2019. The review also saw the approval of $94.2 million disbursement.
Facility signed by the John Mahama administration in 2015 is expected to end in April 2018. A statement from the fund said the board approved Ghana's quest for waivers on non-observance of performance criteria and modification of one performance criterion and the extension of the arrangements by 1 year. It said as risks remain tilted to the downside, careful fiscal management will be required to achieve the 2017 program targets and reverse the unfavorable debt dynamics. It said additional efforts are needed to address revenue shortfalls, while expenditure control measures should be fully enforced to contain current spending and prevent the recurrence of domestic arrears. Professor Newman Kusi of the Institute of Fiscal Study is of the view that whether there is an extension or not, government's relationship with the IMF has to continue.
Some of our development partners always look at the relationship that the country has with the IMF and the other multilateral institutions, such as the African Development Bank and the World Bank, to determine the disbursement of the financial support. So, with or without a program, the interaction between the government or the country and the IMF will have to continue anyway.
Head of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfred Bokpin, said the extension is a logical outcome of where the country finds itself and is the right thing to do.
So all the targets in 2016 were missed, and we deteriorated in some indicators. So then the question was, the remaining 1 year, would it be sufficient for Ghana to correct whatever makes its weaknesses that have been created? The conclusion is simple. It's insufficient. So if Ghana wants to still go by the IMF program, then the logical thing to do and to ask for is extension.
The Extended Credit Facility Program aims to restore debt sustainability and macroeconomic stability in the country to foster a return to high growth and job creation while protecting social spending. Completion of the fourth ECF review, which enables the disbursement of about $94.2 million, brings total disbursements under the arrangement to about $565.2 million, with the remainder being tied to the remaining reviews.
Right, so the big question for most analysts is that will the 1 year be enough? Well, that and more analysis right now. Being joined via Skype this afternoon is Dr. John Gachi, who is the head of finance department at the University of Cape Coast. Good afternoon to you, Doc, and thanks for your time.
Hello?
Yeah, Dr. Gachi. Now, we want to just make a concrete final answer to this particular one. How true is the president's statement that Ghana will not extend the bailout program beyond 2018 following this review?
Well, I think it may be based on the briefing given to him by his economic management team, or he didn't understand what they were telling him. But I believe the reality as we find it now is that there is a possible extension of the program for another year, and that may have some other implication. The first implication is that perhaps the program is delivering in the interest of the economy of Ghana. So after all, it was not a bad step taken in the past 2 to 3 years that the program was actually signed on to. It may also mean that the government needs to go back to Parliament for approval of the extension, because if you look at 2017 budget, it is indicated quite clearly that the intention of the Finance Ministry is to have the program extended from April 2018 to December 2018. Now that is going to be beyond what was approved in the budget. I do not know that that will imply that the minister ought to go to Parliament for the extension beyond the 2018 to be approved by Parliament.
Okay, now let's look at these three indicators. I'm talking about revenue mobilization, fiscal consolidation, and prudent public expenditure. Now, how critical will these three be to the success or otherwise of the avowed promise of the president come 2018?
I think those are the pillars of fiscal consolidation effort, which is key in the program. You've seen that even though they have brought in new policy proposals, those policy proposals should be anchored in improved revenue mobilization, which we have not recorded yet. They also talk about the stemming in high expenditure. And I believe we have not done much in dealing with high expenditure. What we have succeeded in doing is to refuse to pay arrears, to Ghanaian workers, and to refuse to pay arrears to Ghanaian businesses. And if you look at the IMF document, it clearly warned the government about continued delay in payment of or clearance of arrears. So I think the government has a lot of work to do in terms of proving that they genuinely want to contain expenditure and they genuinely want to expand the revenue basket of the country. And that is the key job that the government ought to do. And one reason why that is very, very important and fundamental is that how much you are going to be borrowing will determine by how much you are able to raise. So if raising revenue is a key problem, then our efforts at ensuring sustainable debt management may also be in question within the medium term.
Right, Dr. Gachi, we're grateful for your time. We would follow you in subsequent bulletins for more. Dr. Gachi is head of finance department at the University of Cape Coast there, giving us his analysis, of course, of the IMF extension to 1 year. And let's move away from that now. An investment company, Men's Gold, has announced the closure of its gold vault market in Ghana beginning September 15, 2017. The announcement, signed by management of Men's Gold, says the company will continue with its contractual role as a gold trading firm as expected of them. The notice comes on the back of the Bank of Ghana's disclaimer against Men's Gold's banking operations.
People do not really understand the product, and so it is giving us a negative feedback with respect to some of the regulatory bodies, you understand. And so in that way, in order for us to have a sound business and continue with the other products which are equally doing very good on the market, the board and management decided that we should drop that product which has caused so much confusion on the market for now until further.
The second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, said the company was licensed by the Minerals Commission to buy and sell gold, but had veered off into accepting deposits from unsuspecting customers. Many feared it would have eventually become another financial sector scam following experiences with DKM and God is Love Fun Club, among others. Dr. Esiama further cautioned that anyone transacting banking businesses with Men's Gold will only do that at their own peril. According to Men's Gold, the Gold Vault Market Program involves a special gold market where fine gold buy and sell leads are constantly exhibited.
We have a contractual agreement with those that have been involved with that product for now. And so what is going to happen is that per the agreement, we are supposed to take care of them. We are not doing new additions onto that product, but whoever is inside will ensure that whatever agreements we have, we continue to the time or your duration for the contract expires.
Well, so that will do for business this afternoon. There's more on News 360. I'm Nanikia Mensah-Brampa. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks for staying with us. And President Akufo-Addo has unveiled the logo for the commencement of the Free SHS initiative. The flagship program is expected to promote effective education in the country.
The first country in the world, in modern times anyway, to institute a system of free secondary public education was the United States of America. The United States of America did this a century ago, at a time when their level of development was not very much more than ours. I hope that all of us in Ghana can see the connection between that event and where America is today as the economic power of the world. I believe that if we understand that connection, we will all support this initiative. there will be in any new initiative some wrinkles, some glitches. But if we understand that this is important, not because a political party has made it its mantra and that the promise that it made is being fulfilled, but because it goes to the heart of what we need to do to get our country going. Our country is abundant with talents, with creativity, with people who have all kinds of contribution to make to the development of our society. What we need to do is to provide them the opportunity to express themselves. And if that opportunity is provided, I think very, very, very rapidly we'll see the transformation that all of us want to see in Ghana.
7-year-old Elsie Edinam-Haibo has a complex hole in heart condition. Doctors at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital say she needs $8,000 to undergo surgery.
7-year-old girl's condition was noticed 2 weeks after her birth. Efforts to seek treatment for the heart-related problem since birth have proved futile. Elsie Edinam-Haibo cannot do anything on her own. According to doctors at the National Cardiothoracic Center of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Elsie's heart has developed 3 holes and needs a surgical procedure known as primary repair to correct the defect. Elsie Edinam-Haibo needs $8,000 to undergo surgery. The mother of Elsie, Comfort Mensah, said the family is unable to raise the amount and wants public support.
Nti yebeye first one after 2 years no na yasa second one no enti na cost yesa no nti $8,000 no pacho to me nya obebia.
The huge cost is as a result of 3 holes detected in Elsie's heart, which I cannot afford. The situation has taken a toll on my job as well as her education. I am therefore appealing to the public to come to our aid.
Mr. Ghana for say omumboa me pa mo chaw se mumboa me. The
family of Elsie Edinam-Haibo is calling on individuals and benevolent organizations to direct the donations to TV3 Social Support Fund with account number 6010603927 Zenith Bank to save Elsie's life. Remember, no amount is too small.
Yeah, no amount is too small. Let's all help to save little beautiful Edinam's life. We'll come back shortly with sports.
Good afternoon, my name is Yao Fusula. It's time now to do sports here on Midday Live. And on to our first story now. Deputy Captain of the Black Stars, Andre Ayew, has stated his desire to add qualification to the World Cup in Russia to the 2 he has already participated in ahead of Ghana's upcoming qualifiers against Congo. The Black Stars are in danger of missing out on the World Cup following their poor starts to the qualifiers, where they have picked up just 1 point in their opening 2 games in Group E. Ayew says the team will try to correct that.
Training has been on well. We have some few injuries in camp, but hopefully now to then the guys will be better. So we have another 48 hours. So we are preparing hard because we know it's a very important game. So we are working to get the 3 points at home, and we'll prepare for Tuesday too. Not only the fans, but even ourselves. We need these points. I think. In the situation we are in now, we cannot have another result, but a win will say that we are out of the World Cup. So we are expecting a win. We hope that we will get that win because it's very important for us and for the nation and for all the fans. So we are going to give our best to win the next 2 games.
Also, that's Andre Ayew there saying they will do their best to win those 2 games for Ghana. But this afternoon in Group E, Egypt will take on Uganda in Kampala, and there will be a lot of interest in that game. But away from that, preparations are still ongoing for Ghana ahead of the clash against Congo in the World Cup qualifying series. But the Black Stars are likely to be without striker Raphael Jamina for the qualifying game in Kumasi on Friday. This report explains why.
The FC Zurich forward has told Ghana boss Kwesi Appiah and the Ghana Football Association that he is seeking different medical options about his health for football after a proposed deal to Brighton in the English Premier League fell through, which puts his participation in Friday's game and possible next Tuesday's return in Brazzaville at risk. Appiah has called up Richmond Boachie-Yadom of Serbian side Red Star Belgrade, who has scored 9 goals in 9 games this season, but the Ghana boss is still hopeful he can have Jamina on board. The 22-year-old has emerged a key member of the Black Stars, with captain and regular striker Samoa Gyan inching towards the end of his international career, especially after he scored 2 goals in 3 appearances for the Black Stars, including 2 on his debut against Ethiopia. He is the only absentee from Kwesi Appiah's 24-man squad that has gathered in Kumasi for Friday's 2018 World Cup qualifier against Congo. Ghana trail Egypt by 5 points in Group E and must beat Congo if they are to stay in touch with the group leaders.
On to some Ghana Premier League news now. And yesterday, Accra Hearts of Oak drew 3-3 with the Aduana Stars. And there were incidents in that game on Wednesday that suggested that Hearts fans, the referee had been unfair to the Hearts of Oak fans. Now, tackles were flying high, coupled with inconsistent decisions by the referee, raised tempers at the stadium. Let's hear from some fans and officials after that 3-3 entertaining draw.
For us as Accra Hearts of Oak, we are fighting for the title, and we knew this game was going to be a very difficult game. And it was our intention that we were going to win the game. Disappointment, yes, I'm disappointed, but I think that we all know why the result ended as it ended. If the referee was fair, I'm sure if the referee was fair, if he gave everyone's decision, I'm sure the House of Oak would have carried the day and would have made our 3 points. But because of the referee, look at what happened now. And that was so much disappointing. If I am not too much disappointed in the result, I am so much disappointed in the performance of the referee.
In fact, the whole assessment that I can talk about, the referee is a bogus referee. I'm telling you. For the first time, I don't complain about referees. But referee Amwa, review committee, if they don't ban him for life, I'll be surprised. You see, we are always complaining about this league. The league is not exciting. People are complaining. The media are complaining. This would have made the league so exciting. Because you imagine, Wafa played a draw game. There will be 47. Aduana would have been 47. House of Oak would have been 46. The remaining 4 matches. Everywhere we are going to play, both teams are going to benefit out of it. But Amwa has taken his own decision on what to do.
We did very well. We played very well. It was a nice game, but you see what happened. The officiating was not good. But we tried our best to win the game, but we thanks to God that we came up with a draw.
Well, members of Accra Hearts of Oak, they're very incensed about the referee's decision not to give them the last-ditch penalty. But after the games on Wednesday, the Professional League Board announced that the league will take a 1-month break due to the WAFU tournament, which will be played in Takoradi and Cape Coast in exactly 10 days from now. That has not gone down well with many who claim it disrupts the flow of the league. So we asked some coaches how they feel about it, and this is what they had to say.
It's bother a lot because the same thing we play our last game, our home last game against Ash Gold, and then we went to 1 month break, and then these are the things I think is not helping a lot, especially in the football in Ghana here, because how can these things happen like that? Look at right now, we have played 2 matches and then we are going another break for 3 weeks. It's very disturbing, but me as a leader, I have to manage things that it won't get much affected, so that it will affect us for us to go to relegation.
This is big disaster. This is big. This is suicide in football, Ghana. This is absolutely nothing in football. This is I'm think this is very bad for any club, and especially last 4 games, especially people which go relegation.
Here on Midday Live, my name is Yao Fosulabi. There's more sports later when Thierry Nyan joins you on News 360.
The President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo say the state will assist in giving the state legendary, the late legendary high life musician Papa Yankson a befitting burial. The president gave the assurance when the leadership of Musica and family of Papa Yankson called on him to officially inform him of the passing of the high life great.
Legendary composer Papa Yankson passed away on July 21 after months of ill health. Music enthusiasts and his contemporaries eulogized him, touting his exemplary works and efforts in nurturing talents.
Papa Yankson is a legend. He's somebody who has dedicated so much to Ghana, a giant musician. I wish that they could have, had a state burial.
Papa Yankson's first son, Silas Yankson, made an appeal to the state to give his father a state burial.
I want our president to give him state burial. The man has done a lot for Ghana.
The subject again popped up when the leadership of Musica and Papa Yankson's family informed the president of the veteran's passing. The president, a fan of the prolific composer, thinks the late Papa Yankson served his country well and deserves the state's support in giving him a befitting burial.
So, woman be now born modern, who wants more man, no be a some tour, no be ba, no man is going to me and your baby. Not just in your man, Papa. The music guys today, oh my Papa. And no crap, Papa Yankson, your bonny dear, no so no. Only some pay for no on the ball. Here back home. They be to me, I have bought me to me a money ye for fair, Jana Quine for fair fellow. Many minister, the better quiet to me, I am an abana ban to the long day about the time with you.
Papa Yankson will be laid to rest in a palm on October 21. The award-winning musician's funeral was originally scheduled to take place at the Dansoman Cape Fit Club, but the president proposed the forecourt of the State House.
It's Saturday. 20.
I can't be on cry. I say, no more. I could see it. Apam.
What are you going to try and do? You're going to do it at the State House in the forecourt there, something like that?
The number.
Yeah, we have to do that. We have to do that.
Music.
Well, so before we wrap up, information coming in indicates that Musica has had some meetings to indicate that they will support ailing musician and actor Joel Aka.
That his condition is quite worrying. It's worsened, and we have actually met on it. I think the Aging Musicians Welfare Fund Committee called an emergency meeting, and I know that the committee are planning to visit him again. Again, the condition is not something that the fund could just solve, because again, once a person is born into a family, and so I'm sure that we talk together with the family, we talk to family members. As an organization, we have met on it. Again, AMWEF is not a rich body. I think AMWEF funds us at our last audited report was in an investment which was 15,000 or so. So again, as much as we want to help, our resources, or we are limited in a way, and so we call on other key individuals in society to also help.
Well, so that's definitely good news for the ailing musician, and thanks to the entertainment team for coming up with such stories. That's all we have for you by way of news this afternoon. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Asiedu-Dartey. Do enjoy the afternoon.